So, Erin, it's lovely to see you, and thank you for taking the time out to talk about and share how Reiki and distant Reiki has benefited you.
Well, thank you for having me. And it is an absolute pleasure to see you because I haven't seen your face in about 18 months now, as we've been doing distance Reiki perfectly well.
Excellent. So, you first came for treatments in 2022.
Yes.
Would you like to talk about why you first started to receive Reiki?
Yes, I would. So I was fortunate enough to receive the role of a lifetime. And I had been working in that role for a year. It was something that I saw as probably my big shot, the pinnacle of my career to date. And I was single, and I don't have children. So essentially, I put my heart and soul and worked around the clock. I think we were coming out of lockdown as well. So it was work, work, work. And I was determined to make a success of this company and kind of build it from the ground up.
Mhm.
Towards the end of that 12 months, for a number of reasons, I was let go. And this was devastating for me personally. Um, there was probably a 3-month period in which my performance was really raked over the coals on a daily basis. And I kind of saw my role being dissected in front of me, and, tasks that I would be responsible for would be given to peers or colleagues. So it was kind of sitting there and kind of watching your own demise um, over, over 3 months. And they finally let me go, which was a relief. And I think after a month or two, I noticed that that sense of heaviness and sadness wasn't really dissipating. I could probably rationalize what had happened,
Mm.
but I just felt so humiliated. I felt humiliated and very much doubting in my abilities, and the sense of wanting to hide away from the world, and definitely, oh, sorry. I want
Oh,
to be, sorry.
perfect.
I want a video.
That's fine. Fine. Don't worry.
Okay. Children, there you go. I'm now a stepmother. So talk about how my life has changed a little bit later. So yeah, to pick up that thread, I just felt really humiliated, and sad,
Yeah,
heavy.
sad. I remember.
Yeah, close to tears all the time. And I knew that this would pass, but I also felt that I had some healing to do, and that I really needed to do some work on
Mm.
myself. And I think knowing the benefits of Reiki in an academic sense, I thought, my soul, my energy, needs a clean, needs a deep spring clean. And that's why I reached out and connected with you.
Cool. Thank you for sharing. And so we initially started doing in-person treatments, and you began to feel some benefits from those. And then we moved to distant Reiki once you moved to the beach. So you were in Melbourne, and then you moved to the Mornington Peninsula. And that's when you started to receive distant Reiki. And was there any major difference for you from in the in receiving in-person treatments compared to distant Reiki?
Yeah, not really. I mean, I think what was very clear in our first session was intense physical
Mm.
manifestations, heat, tingling, feeling of rushing, even audio kind of um, presentations.
Mm.
And then when I left after that first session, I honestly, I don't quite know how to describe it, but I felt very altered. And so I think our subsequent sessions were less pronounced.
Mm.
And so it kind of settled to a level where I might feel some tingling, some heat, always a deep sense of calm, and you sort of feel that very much here in your be it your heart chakra or
Yeah.
the middle here. And that's the same sort of feeling I get with distance Reiki. So it's that slowing down. I might again feel energy coursing through me.
Mm.
My mind starts to slow. Often I go into that sort of state between waking and sleeping.
Mm.
Or, in some cases I might go straight kind of under.
Mm.
So yeah, I the benefits that I received when we were in person, and that sense of kind of calm and grounding and fresh perspective, are very much the same as they were in person.
Fantastic. So the physical sensations that you experience, like the tingling and the heat, that comes and goes.
Yeah,
But what is consistent is that after Reiki treatment, you tend to feel more balanced and clearer and grounded and more connected to your heart, or lighter in your heart. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. And I think how I would characterize it is a restoring of confidence.
Yeah,
So
fantastic.
yeah, it's the
I think
confidence
that's
is,
and I think that's because when we're anxious, then we lose confidence. We're not as connected to our own self.
mm,
What Reiki does is it helps to relax the central nervous system and helps to reduce anxiety. And so therefore you're more confident after each session.
that really resonates with
Yeah.
me. So as a person, I tend towards an anxious disposition. And it's been many, many years of work to um, accept that and kind of harness it rather than
Great.
trying to, rather than being ashamed of it,
Excellent.
basically. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I think there's two ways in which me personally, I can become less effective. The first one is overwhelm.
Mm.
That's usually too much on,
Yeah.
any logistics.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a stepmother now.
Mm.
I work in the city a couple of days a week. So dealing with the needs of a family and making sure there's clean clothes and food and got to pay bills, it's all that sort of thing. And it manifests as a sense of like, too hard, can't do it, not cut out for this. And then the second way in which I lose confidence is, again, probably professionally, when there's a challenge at work and you think, I'm not up for this task, I don't have the skills. What are they thinking of me? They must be regretting their decision to hire me. So it's kind of those feelings of doubt and that manifest as well. And so I think the Reiki and the grounding, I see it as restoring the confidence that I can do pretty much everything, and I deal with any sort of problem that comes my way.
Yeah.
And then secondly, that I've got all the skills I need to, and I don't need to be perfect,
Mm.
but I'm just as good as anyone else that might, sit in a similar chair to mine in a professional sense. So yeah, it's lovely to take the time out, I suppose, to acknowledge that
Yeah.
once a month for an hour, and it does definitely make me more effective.
Yeah. Fantastic. Because I think we've spoken about before, you actually are very good at problem solving, and you actually are, yeah, effective in the world. Like you manage quite a lot.
And that was lovely to hear. It was
Mm.
lovely to have that acknowledged because um, I think twofold. I'm proud. I was very, very proud. Not that I don't think I've got any more than my share of problems or that they're bigger, but I do feel like I've done the work to not take things personally, to be creative in problem solving, to
Yeah.
know that this too will pass.
Mm.
And Reiki is kind of part of that.
Yeah.
It's also having the check-in with you, Sarah, monthly, to kind of go, this is what's happening. Oh my God. And have someone acknowledge that's a lot.
Yeah.
Crazy. No wonder you're feeling tired or, a little bit lost, or wow, you've got all these things to deal with. And I don't think it's very rare, I think, that you get such a clear chance and an acknowledgement to go every month, this is everything, and someone go, yeah, you're right to feel the way you feel, and now let's relax and work through it.
Balance and restore.
Yeah, so I love the the component of our sessions that might be the first 10 minutes. Probably different for everyone. I'm sure that other people don't talk your ear off as soon as
Oh, they do.
oh, they do, good, okay. But for me, yeah, it is so validating to define that, to articulate what's going on, and then have that acknowledgement back.
Fantastic. And how has it been beneficial for you to receive Reiki from a distance rather than in person?
It's a huge thing because I think firstly it was physical distance, in that I had moved down to the peninsula, which is a good hour away from the outskirts of Melbourne. And let's face it, was I able to commit to a 90-minute drive, an hour of Reiki and a 90-minute drive home? No. And I was very, very keen to continue our sessions and our work. So the first thing was physical. As I've moved back to Melbourne, I just became addicted to the convenience of it. So again, with my work, it's not ideal that I'm taking lengthy periods of time out. So I know that we can have a 1 hour session, and I can book it in over my lunch hour, or take that hour out, and it works perfectly. I'm working here at my desk. My bed's just here. So 2 minutes and I'm having Reiki. But I think the third aspect is that often maybe when you have a massage or you have Reiki, when you leave, you've got this wonderful sense of calm. And for me, I always hate the drive home, because I'm like, stay with me, calm, even if you're battling traffic, or, oh God, I've got to get petrol, or I've got to pick something up. So for me, it allows me to hold on to the immediate effects of that session for a bit longer, because I can just sort of be at home and be very quiet.
Yeah, so it's more beneficial for your central nervous system because you're not having to get back into the car and drive back home.
Exactly. It's like,
kind of part.
Would you have a facial and then, I don't know, go put sunscreen all over yourself? Or
Yeah.
no. So for me, it's like, it's just holding the benefits for as long as you can to make sure it really settles.
Yeah, and the benefits are exactly the same.
Yeah, and I feel it physically, I feel it emotionally. It is such a miraculous phenomena. Yeah, I just wish there were other things I could do by distance. Like my chiropractor, that would be great, but that's not going to happen anytime soon, I don't think.
And what are some of the changes that you've noticed since you've been receiving Reiki? Distance.
It has been 2 years now, and 2 years of incredible disruption and change. So I moved, as I said, down to the peninsula. I started a very significant relationship. I'm now engaged and a stepmother to 3 teenagers. I worked successfully for myself as a consultant for 18 months. And then I took the plunge back into full-time employment with an employer. And again, probably a little less prominent than my last role, but still very senior with a lot of responsibility. So that's kind of been my environment. And I would say that I'm able to navigate all of these various things, and that comes with also selling an apartment,
Yes.
buying a block of land,
Yes.
buying a house.
Yes.
So we've really piled on all the life changes that one could possibly experience in a 24-month period.
Okay.
Um, I feel good. And when I do doubt myself, or when I do have moments of, "Ugh," I just want to go and sit on a tropical island by myself for a couple of weeks. Those sort of bouts are a lot shorter in duration.
Mm.
Um, so I feel emotionally regulated.
Mm.
I feel quite discerning about
Mm.
how I choose to feel about certain things,
Fantastic.
rather than having my emotions rule me.
Fantastic.
I definitely go, I assess that and go, yes, I'm right to feel angry, or, you know what? That person made me feel bad or whatever, but it's got nothing to do with me. I'm going to let that one go.
Fantastic.
So,
More in
yeah,
control.
I feel in control, and I feel that I can operate confidently and effectively.
Fantastic. Excellent. And is there anything else that you'd like to share?
I'd like to acknowledge you personally, Sarah, your skill in your craft, and also just what a lovely and supportive person you are. It is definitely a huge part of what you bring to our sessions, that you kind of track me from month to month, and you remember, oh, that happened to you a couple of months ago, or join the dots for me as well. Oh, you're feeling poorly. How long's that been going on? What else did you do around that time? And I'm like, oh, well, I started this new medication. You're like, okay, not a coincidence. Um, but also that sense of someone holding space for you um, is very significant. And yeah, it's just you've got a beautiful, restful energy that really contributes to the effectiveness of the Reiki, in my opinion. So definitely no plans anytime soon to not continue with our sessions.
Yeah, I'm so
That was
glad.
very convoluted.
That's fine. You're perfect. Yeah. Thank you very much. That's really kind. And so glad to see how you've benefited from our sessions in person and also from a distance. And I love seeing the changes that you've made and how we're working to relax your central nervous system so you're feeling better in your day-to-day life. And thank you also so much for taking the time out today to share how Distant Reiki has benefited you.
Was my
It
absolute
used to.
pleasure. Absolute pleasure. So thank you so much for inviting me to share my story. And I hope anyone watching this, if they're on the fence about it, then I would definitely give Reiki a go. I would definitely give distance Reiki a go, because it has been so very beneficial for me and how I operate in the world.
Excellent. Thank you, Erin.
Thanks, Sarah.
A pleasure. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.